We're at halftime here with Dr. Steve Danley. Steve, welcome.
How you doing, Coach?
Not bad, not bad. So, well, first of all, what did you think of the first half?
I thought we looked great. Got out in transition, got good shots. It's nice to see a big guy that can pass a little bit.
Yeah, we finally have a post player who will kick the ball out of the post.
Right.
We never had that before. So let's start with now. What are you doing these days?
I'm a professor up at Rutgers-Camden in Camden, New Jersey. Professor of public policy.
Right. No, so they've got you teaching, but don't they also have you doing some things in the community, or they're pushing you to do stuff in the Camden area?
Yeah, Rutgers just got involved. They're really involved in civic engagement, and so we do local projects. I run a class on Camden that goes out and works with local restaurants, tries to get digital infrastructure so that people can go to the restaurants that are locally owned there. A lot of different stuff we do in the city.
And Camden, some of the problems that all inner cities have in terms of just trying to revitalize and get back to maybe where they were so many years ago.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's a couple different things going on. Obviously, the schools are a big part of that, the hospitals, the neighborhoods, some of those old main streets that are coming back, and the Sixers facility, too. So we have a little DeMatha presence up there as well. That's
right. Well, actually, he's here tonight. Markelle Fultz is here tonight. So he still owes me some trig homework, but what are you going to do? But you're a bright guy. You went to Penn. How'd you end up there, though? Like, what got you interested in public policy when certainly you had so many options?
Yeah, it's funny because it tracks all the way back to DeMatha. So I had Coach Burke. I played JV my freshman year, and then I had him for government. And that was what got me kind of going down this path. I can remember the assignment I loved was he used to have us bring in political cartoons every week and explain them and write it up for class and carried that through. So took that across the ocean, went to Oxford for a few years, spent some time in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina and tried to deal with some of the challenges there as well.
Well, you're ruining all my questions, Steve. You're going too fast.
Too fast. All right, we'll slow down. I've not been called too fast here before.
There's a first for everything. But let's go back. Tell me about New Orleans.
Sure. I had a chance to go down there. Professor John DiUlio was doing some work from Penn. And I went down there, and one of the big things that was happening in the city is that neighborhoods got together and said, we need to be responsible for our own recovery. And so I started to write about that, and I have a book now. It's called A Neighborhood Politics of Last Resort, about when kind of neighborhood activists, their backs are against the wall, and they say, we have to make this happen. And hopefully that's coming out this spring, McGill-Queen University Press.
That's fantastic. All right. So let's go back even before DeMatha.
Sure.
All right. So before DeMatha, how did you get your schooling?
Yeah, I was homeschooled for about 5 years before I came to DeMatha. Before that, I was in the public schools in Montgomery County. So, it was a lot of challenges. I remember Gonzaga wouldn't take my transcript. They said my mother had to go back and write new grades for me every time. And Moylan sat me down and he said, we'd really love to have you here. And that was really how I ended up here.
All right, so you're living out in Germantown, right?
Yep.
You're being taught by your mom in school, and your brother was also, I guess, being taught by your mom
sister.
And your sister. So, all right, not a really diverse situation. You come down Montgomery County to Prince George's County. How is that transition?
I had a ton of fun. The thing I remember freshman year, Jordan Collins would grab me by the tie every day as we walked by, and he'd slam me up against the locker, and he'd say, I'm going to fry you today in open gym. And that was kind of my introduction to the school. I loved it and kind of loved beating up on him beating up on me, and playing some competitive ball.
Well, you were a good post player, but you also played with some good post players. So freshman year, you run JV with Tom Burke. And then sophomore year, actually, I think we pulled you up at the end of the year. Didn't you go to the playoffs in Cumberland and whatever like that? So a little bit of indoctrination. But then your sophomore year, you played with some other good post players. Yeah,
Travis was a good friend. Big joke. We took out a bet that year to see whose book would get published first, and Travis beat me to it.
Now, for the record, Travis published his first.
So he got his out. But Travis was great, right? And that's what was wonderful about DeMatha is you got better in practice every day rather than having to wait for the games to come along, and had a chance to do the same thing at Penn. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, talk about the academics here. Who are the teachers that you had in class that maybe helped influence you besides Tom Burke?
Yeah, Rich Machewski was absolutely wonderful. I think about that class all the time now as I teach. Had Mary Yarish multiple times, and obviously she's retired now as well, but really love the work she's done, and some of the economic work I'm doing now makes me think of that, kind of back to those early days of having a couple classes with her too.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you spoke at graduation, one of the things you spoke about was you were kind of here for the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
In terms of John Moylan and Buckoff and some of those guys. You were on Morgan's last team, and you were on Mike's first team.
Sure.
What was that like?
coaching transitions are hard, and I don't think people realize how much coaching is about imagination and seeing roles for players and having that transition happen. Every player, it's new expectations, it's different things, and I really thought that group was one of my favorite years because we had to fight through a lot of adversity and we got super close doing it. And then the same thing happened at Penn. Fran Dunphy left my junior year, so I ran 2 Hall of Fame coaches out of their programs.
Now, when you were here, and both Mike and Morgan, they had a somewhat similar style. Low key. Coach Dunphy pretty much the same, a little fiery.
He was from that school of, get up in guys' faces and, he wanted tough guys to go out and play, and so he tried to make you tough every day in practice. It was an adjustment, but, it really brought the team together, and I missed the math every once in a while when we went through it.
Right. Well, Dunphy was from the Gary Williams coaching tree,
That's
so,
right.
Who are your mentors? Mike learned from Morgan, not surprising. Fran led from Gary, a little different style.
You learn all the tricks. Coach Dunph, when he wanted to curse at you, he didn't want to be able to lip read on national TV, so he'd cover his mouth up so they couldn't read his lips, and then he'd just let you have it.
Now, you go to Penn, and you guys, Ivy League, but very successful. I think you won the league 3 years, right?
3 times, yep.
So you get to go to the NCAAs. What was that like?
The NCAAs is amazing. You go through the party, you're finding out where you're going. You go out, police escort out to the games. You're seeing everything. And my favorite years were the years when we played late. And so you got to sit around for a day or two, watch all the upsets
You're
happening.
still in. You're still in.
And so we had a great chance. Probably the high point of my college career, we were up against Texas at the half. We were 15, they were 2, and we thought we had a real chance to take them down. And the place is wired. It's a different vibe because the gyms are so big. It's a struggle to shoot in some of those big stadiums. But we had a chance to play at the highest level against the best players. That's the dream.
So you went 3 times, then?
Yep.
Played against Texas. Who else?
Boston College. That was the Jared Dudley, Craig Smith. Smith, not a great matchup for me. We got Texas junior year. LaMarcus Aldridge, also not a great matchup for me. And then Texas A&M senior year.
Well, that's good. Unbelievable experience. It's just fantastic. All right. So let's go back. First of all, a couple of years ago, you gave 2 important talks. One was you were the speaker at DeMatha's graduation.
Right, it was an honor.
What was the other one? You don't remember? You gave the toast at my son's wedding.
I did give the toast. I do remember that. I didn't realize it was the same year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, and they invited me back for graduation.
So it's great. So DeMatha has a poster out, and in the poster is you only see the bottom half of a bunch of guys who are obviously athletes. Bottom half of basketball players, football players, track guys, tennis, and you always see it like that. And the line is, this is all you know about DeMatha. We'd like to teach you a little bit more.
Right.
And you're one of those guys, So hopefully today we taught guys a little bit more. What we always try to do with the interview is talk about the things that don't know. They know that we're great in basketball, we're great in football, they know our bands, but they don't know. If you haven't been to the campus, you haven't been in the classroom, you don't know what's going on. And I know you and my son sometimes have a debate as to who got more out of DeMatha. My son wasn't, he was still evolving as a student. You obviously were on the high end. And the great thing for me is that's a debate that DeMatha serves so many people.
I think about it all the time. I went to some of the best universities in the world. I went to the University of Pennsylvania. I had a chance to be at Oxford. And when I started teaching, the people I reached out to were my DeMatha teachers, right? Because I said those were the classroom experiences that I want to be able to bring into my own classroom.
Well, Steve, this was great.
Wonderful.
All right. Now, a lot of great things on your resume, academically impeccable. But I think the one hole in your resume is you never had me for math.
Yeah, I definitely missed it. I heard that class was a tough one.
Steve, thanks a lot.
All right.
We'll get back to the game.
All right.